We can't be afraid to ask questions because sometimes clarity and a little bit of skill will solve the client's problem.
You also have to self-reflect on your emotions and calming yourself down as well. You need to breathe and take different steps to calm yourself down. Hey, everybody. It is Therese and Adiva, Stephen, Harrington, Dakota, and we are talking today about how to excel in your insurance customer service representative duties every day.
That was a mouthful.
It was, and we've got to think about what do we do every single day, and are we creating habits and routines, or are we just kind of running out there and chaotically trying to do our job? I think sometimes we do chaotically jump out there and try to do our job with no kind of form and fashion, and then we don't understand why we're so stressed out and why we have no balance, and we just feel off kilter. And I think it's really important for us to basically talk about kicking off your day by being prepared. So, Stephen, can you tell us how you kick off your day and how you prepare for your day?
Yes, I love to spend 10, 15 minutes looking at my day and seeing what's ahead of me, looking at my calendar, looking at tasks, seeing if anything is past due that I need to jump into, glance over everything in the system, and then say, what do I also have coming up for the rest of the day? Like, if it's in my mind, I can prepare better. It doesn't mean everything's going to be crushed, but there's some days where you have to hustle a little harder than others. And I also like to think if I can do it all in the few days before I know I'm going on vacation, as well as the whole next week's work, I can probably get today's work done, right? If I just have a plan. So we have to get through, do a quick prep, and be prepared to handle what comes our way.
Yeah. And I always have to start with working out some way or another to get the juices flowing. If I don't work out, my days are just kind of blah. And I know that if I don't do it early in the morning, I won't do it at all. But that's how I start and get energized. And then I jump into looking at the day and preparing. But it's real important that you know what your day consists of, what tasks you have to complete that day, what phone calls you have to make, what meetings you'll have. That's really, really important. And then you have to listen with intent and empathy. So every single call, every single situation, every single customer that walks in, it's going to be different. So you have to be able to empathize with the client. I understand, I understand what you're going through. Let me try to help you. You are their superhero. You're the hero at that moment when they're struggling. And you need to realize that we need to, listen to them, number one, and let them talk through everything. Don't interrupt them. I mean, I was guilty of doing a lot of interruptions, which I realize now, gosh, I wish I would have zipped a little bit more and listened and kind of, just went through and listened to their entire story, but I would always jump kind of in the middle. So I've learned my lesson and now I listen a lot more. And I think a lot of us need to do that because even though we feel like we don't need to hear the whole story, it's important for the customer to be able to express that entire story. Do you have anything on that one, Stephen?
I think that it kind of, the intent and empathy kind of builds into the next one, which is solving problems with clarity and skill. Sometimes we have to listen and remember, like, every day is Groundhog's Day. Our clients, it's the first time they're telling us, even though it's probably the 30th time we've heard it today.
Right.
So if we take a little bit of that empathy and intent, and then we learn to solve problems with some clarity and skill, I can go a long way. I was actually watching a video this morning on the Book of Faces, and it's a guy that charters private jets for wealthy people. And the guy's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So and so is mid flight and just said she was supposed to go to this place instead of that place. And the manager guy's like, well, what do you mean she didn't know where she was flying when she got on the plane? Like, they're like, well, no, the itinerary, everything said location A. Like, she signed off and authorized it. But then she just sent me the itinerary for location B for the hotel and everything.
Yeah.
And the manager's like, okay, so this was definitely her fault, like her problem. But if we would have asked a couple more questions, like, oh, where are you going to be staying? Because we coordinate accommodations. We normally have a car service, pick them up at the airport and take them to the place. If you would have said, hey, let me get you a free card service, where are you staying? we could have solved this just by asking a couple more questions. And like that was a huge like moment for me, just going, yes, we can't be afraid to ask questions because sometimes clarity and a little bit of skill will solve the client's problem.
Yeah, and I think calling somebody, picking up the phone, because sometimes through writing and text messages and emails, it can be very confusing, and the final result or what you want done doesn't get done because the clarity isn't there in that communication style. So make sure you're testing your communication styles as well, and stay composed under pressure. This one can be a struggle. I found a lot. I would have customer service representatives where they would get an angry customer on the phone and the customer would be yelling at them. So I would say, just, put them on hold, tell them you're going to get the manager. And I would get on the phone and I'd be like, yes, sir, no, sir. And they would continue to yell. And I'd be like, you need to calm down. We need to talk through the situation. Obviously, if you can't get somebody to calm down, you can't actually have them screaming and hollering at you over the phone. So you have to find ways and strategies to calm someone down. But you also have to self reflect on your emotions and calming yourself down as well. You need to breathe and take different steps to calm yourself down. Anything on that one?
I think again, it's you're the expert, you have the power. You just have to choose how you use it, right? Are you going to get mad back with them? Are you going to take their attitude and make it yours? Or are you going to be like, look, we are going to get this done. We just need to slow down and say, hey, you have no power here. I'm going to solve this, or I got some solutions. Let's go. And some people don't know how, like, another thing, a lot of times it takes people a lot of courage to pick up the phone and call somebody. Like, I know there's people that will like think about it for hours and then they finally pick up the phone. And by the time they pick up the phone, they're hot. Like, they're like, I've just thought about this for 5 hours and now you're trying to tell me to calm down. Don't tell me to calm down.
They're talking to the wrong person because they've been talking to themselves for 5 hours instead of talking to the customer. And they've made scenarios in their head where things could have been worse. And once they get on the phone, it may have taken 5 minutes to solve it. So,
Absolutely. And I think part of that too is remembering that we're part of a team. Like, how do we collaborate with other people on the team as things change or as different things are happening? How can we all grow together? Like, I'm a firm believer, like, if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to be like, all right, cool. I'm going to figure this out and get back to you. And then I'm going to go talk to the team and be like, how would you handle this? Or what are some options? And I think just really collaborating with the team and realizing you are part of a bigger picture. You're not a little island. We all need to work together to get things done. Even if it's not your normal role, sometimes you have to step in or step up and be like, awesome, I will take one for the team and learn something different. And I think that also makes it better because then we're all working together with the same goal and we're learning from each other.
yeah, in my first insurance job, it wasn't the most ideal situation, but I was put in one big room with there was three of us in one office. So when a call would come in, I was new, so I'd answer the call and I'd be like, oh, I don't know that answer, but let me get an agent who can. And then I would pass it to the other agent, and it kind of spawns on to the next comment is the next thing is commit to continuous learning. So I would collaborate with my team by saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. I would say to the customer, I would say, let me find out the answer for you. Hold on just 1 second. Let me put Brian on the phone. So I would put them on hold, and Brian was in the room. So I would say, Brian, I don't know how to answer this. Can you get on the phone and answer it for me? And then I would listen and talk to him after the call to understand what the answer was. So that's how I would learn new things. I did a lot of listening to how they answered calls because it was important to me as a new agent to try to figure out all this stuff. So I wasn't constantly asking everybody to answer the call for me. So what do you have on continuous learning?
I think that it, again, be open to the opportunity to learn. And we have to remember sometimes we have to learn outside of work hours. Like, one of the most frustrating things is when I'm talking to people on the team and they're like, I don't have enough time during the day to learn more about that or do the CE or take that class. And I'm like, if I only spent 8 hours a day every day in my job and only focused on my job and I have spent any outside time enriching myself or learning more on my own, I can only imagine where I would still be, which I understand. People have life, they have things happening, everybody's life is different. But even when I had a growing family and an hour drive to work and back every day, I would listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook. Like I was doing things to help me learn more and grow as a person and in the business. Just like every morning, I check out a couple of Facebook pages and I read the silly stories that are happening in the world of insurance. And I'm like, shut up, I want to learn more about this. And then I look at it later in the day. So I think we just need to be open to learning.
Right. And we all have the same amount of hours in the day. It's how we use them. And I think sometimes people don't take advantage of that car ride, that hour car ride. You can actually finish quite a few books doing, listening to books in your car ride. And that doesn't take away. I know like a lot of people like music, but sometimes you can do, one way is reading and one way is listening to music. And the next one is celebrate your daily impact. So it's important as agents that we recognize that we do have a daily impact on our customers, on our coworkers, and we need to celebrate those. Reflect on the positive things, kind of end your day with, what success did I have today that I'm proud of? Because we do, and even if it's a small success, it's really important that you focus on the positives and don't take home your customers. Make sure your customers stay in that desk drawer at work. If they're, if you had negative interactions with them, it's important to leave that at work and not take that home with you. Anything on that one?
No, I think that was just a good point. Like, keep it where it belongs. We shouldn't be bringing home to work and work to home. They kind of both have their own place. And sometimes it's hard to remember that, but we can find a win every day if we try.
Yes. Yes. And just want to say, we do have our WOW customer service training that is available this month. So make sure you get online at agencyperformancepartners.com and check out our other things. We've got several other blogs on this topic that are really great topics. And we'll see you in the next call. Thanks so much, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ruth.
Take care.